Well, audiences didn't go for this movie in 1952, but really looks good to me in 2014 because we don't have new musicals being made today with people as pleasant to watch as Fred Astaire and Vera Ellen, certainly. With me to talk about the Belle of New York is writer Brent Phillips, an expert on the career of the man who directed the film, Chuck Walters. Now, it is so interesting when you think that, you know, these all have reasons for being. It is an old-fashioned movie, certainly, particularly when you say that the year before came American in Paris, which pushed the envelope a bit on musicals, certainly. Yes. But also, Dory Sherry was now at MGM. He didn't really like musicals, and he didn't like, you know, glamour. He wanted message pictures and black and white.
Or high production costs.
High production costs, yes. He didn't like that at all, so he wanted, you know, small message pictures and all that. So that did have a definite influence on everything going on at MGM at that time.
Absolutely. This film, happily, had been given a large time to rehearse. I think they basically rehearsed for like 99 days, just the musical sequences. So Fred Astaire, he wanted to rehearse, and they let him. So there was a lot of rehearsal, which is why there's such polish in those musical numbers. But yeah, this was probably one of the last times that something like that was going to happen now that Dory Sherry was running the studio.
So we should also point out this was the last film that Charles Walters did with Arthur Freed as the producer.
Yes, and it was sort of bittersweet that the final film that they made together was not as triumphant as Good News and Easter Parade. You know, this was the man who had given him his start at MGM as a choreographer and then also as a director. But even though they wouldn't make any more films together, the two of them, Chuck would still sort of help out Arthur Freed. As he said, he would call them family favors, and he would go in and spruce up a few moments here and there. And one of the most infamous ones probably is Gigi, where Chuck went in and did 2 weeks of retakes on that film to try to make sure that that film was going to be presented as beautifully as it is.
So it was kind of a triumphant finale.
That very much was.
But not publicized too much.
Exactly. Chuck kept that secret for a long time.
Been nice talking to you. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you. This is wonderful.
And we have more weeks ahead.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for tonight.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, Brent and I are finished for this week, but we're both going to be back next Friday with more films directed by Charles Walters. But don't go away right now. We have another Walters film up next. This one not a musical, but a comedy. Originally intended for June Allison, but done instead by Jane Wyman, along with Van Johnson and Howard Keel.
Tonight on TCM's Friday Night Spotlight, Jane Wyman serves the fancy of 3 guys named Mike. Then Virginia O'Brien adds to the hilarity of Du Barry Was a Lady. And Victor Mature and Lucille Ball are in a hurry to get hitched and 7 days leave.
Visit shop.tcm.com and receive